All right. We have arrived. It's so
There's a
exciting.
mosquito in here.
I've got a fly in my room for some reason. Just one. Been hanging around.
Just
Not like a whole host of them. Just one. Singular. Like, what are you doing in here? And it's been in here for days. I'm like, why are you still alive?
It's actually his great grandchild. We've had mosquitoes, like, just, you know, open the door to like let the kids in, you know, for school or whatever, and then like they're like waiting. So as soon as the doors open, they go in. Right, they come flying into the house.
Right.
I would not have a problem with mosquitoes so much if they didn't itch or if they were quiet. Like, you would think that they would evolve in some way.
No, they just spread disease.
I'm trying to think about how like a mosquito evolution would function, and it just gets more and more terrifying the more I think about it. It would basically be like if I wanted to twist it up into a horror film, like mosquitoes evolving into a humanoid species that looks similar to humans, but they still need blood to survive. Like
Isn't
nature
that
just
vampires?
can't fix it. Basically, but this would be worse. And you'd only have to watch out for the females, of course.
I was gonna say you don't have to watch out for the females. I know. It's one of those things that I'm like, if you were quiet and you didn't itch afterward, I would not notice if I was getting bitten by mosquitoes. It's like vampire bats, right? They like eat on a cow that's sleeping. They don't wake the cow up. They don't bother the cow. Little bite, lick some blood, fly away.
You know, I saw this crazy moment. It was just online.
Oh, we're live, aren't we?
Yeah, but I mean, like, I saw this crazy moment with this dude ended up getting attacked by this bat in the middle of the day, which is the like part that I found interesting. But they were just out there enjoying their camp, and this thing just goes whoa, like at his face, and he's like swinging his guitar trying to get at it. Well, it actually apparently it kept attacking him throughout the campsite. It actually had rabies. I'm like, I've never been more weirded out to go into the woods ever. I'm like, I realize it's like when I think rabies, I think dog, and I'm going like, you know, a bat or a shovel. That I would feel pretty defensible in those situations. Well. Good morning, Billy. Awake over there?
No. So there's something in the air that's really messing with my eyes. I think it's the AC. When I turn on the heat, dust just kind of...
Yeah. Well, it looked really funny because you were squinting at this white light that's just blasting into your face. So
it's like, I found God.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how are you not Ash, Malcolm?
Because I took that wonderful feat. Because of my greater milestone.
Yes.
I can last an hour in the sun.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you wish you had that in real life?
What?
Fuck all.
God. That took me way too long to get. I have a lot of ginger friends. I don't understand why that just took so fucking long just now. It's just like, what's he talking about? I'm like, all right. Basically, on a cloudy day, you peel. So it's.
I think they peel at night under the moonlight.
Oh,
that's how you know you're that pale, when you get moonburns.
Scott, I saw your post. Okay, so is that how we're gonna get more viewers? All right,
I think so. I like opened up Twitch and it's like playing the new Mario game, and I was like, nuh-uh.
Thanks for the 18 months, though.
So, Ken, last time on Shadows.
Yeah, last time on Shadows, an old friend, I'm gonna put air quotes, friend, showed up.
I ain't your friend.
That's why I put air quotes. He was so basically our whole group has been subpoenaed by the underground or underworld unseen court law system, and so we need to show up. Otherwise, our friends will die. So that's why we have to get there. And basically, we were able to shoot with with Malcolm's help, we were able to acquire a undead defense attorney to help us navigate this fun time.
As we're apparently being prosecuted by Baphomet.
Yeah,
Or at least presided
and-
over.
yeah,
Yeah.
and come to find out, Mr. Maxwell, is it Maxwell?
Yeah, it's
Uh,
Maxwell Smart.
Smart, that's right. Maxwell
Shop smart,
is,
shop S-smart.
basically a material witness in proving that we broke, the law, the international or interdimensional law.
Breaking the law, breaking the law, bomb, bomb.
So we ended off after Dee gave us a glorious description of this amazing dome that we went into, structure, and we saw Max, and Baphomet came out, and that's how we ended. And I think we're just about to get started. Oh, right, there's a giant dragon creature in the
Serpent.
middle. Serpent looking at us.
Yeah, it looks down at the center part, but it's a statue. You have a massive pillar and surrounding it in this big coil with the head looking down
Say
into
it's
the
a
chambers.
statue, but
Oh, does
Anyway.
Maxwell need to zip up his pants?
I think Maxwell needs an ego check.
Hey, Maxwell is not Ivar. His pants usually stay buttoned.
That also.
he was saying that the serpent was his penis, guys.
No,
I
I,
know.
understand that.
I got it. Thanks for over-explaining it for no reason at all.
For all our viewers out there who were not aware.
Yeah, right now this is where we insert the meme
One
where
of
it's
those
like,
times where it gets funnier when I
it's a
explain the joke.
penis.
The
Like,
the serpent is not a euphemism.
no.
Just a serpent.
Yeah.
Oh shit,
That-
where is it?
that
Yeah,
Freudian
you're
moment.
looking for the
Something.
dinosaur dragon thing
Yeah, I don't know.
in the car.
No,
You could have like a reaction corner on your thing, so that you can like on the stream. I mean, so that whenever all these animated reactions show up, that you can like that people can see it. The God of War games are amazing.
Yes. That whole scene with the world serpent was absolutely like mind-blowing whenever I saw it the first time. I just was like,
Yeah.
like the scale is so out of this world.
I love it, and it's all one
just
shot.
think of the people who made that, who were like, "Oh, this is gonna be awesome."
They succeeded.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell there was a
yes,
lot of
yes,
love
they
put
did.
into that whole game. I still have yet to finish the damn thing. Should probably just play that.
Oh, so good. I actually went through in that game and defeated all of the Valkyries, including the Valkyrie Queen, and that was difficult. It was definitely harder than the last boss.
Well, I mean, I am playing Elden Ring. I have a sense of self-punishment.
We got
But yes.
3 black boxes now,
Yes.
because even your
know.
like music is like going dark.
It's got to use the restroom?
Well, since I was talking, it gives me a chance to actually type out the recap in my notes.
Well, needless to say, the situation got to be very strange because Maxwell's arrival, was rather unprecedented. Now, we have a fairly large group of people we have, Estelle, Tiberius, Danny as the family unit, and then we have Barnaby, who's the protector, and we have Hugh,
This has gotta go.
Malcolm, and now Max.
Oh,
I mean, the gang's all
cool.
here.
that was just too much.
Who's talking?
That was Mr. Max.
Yeah, that was Maxwell. It was just Maxwell went with a gift that looked awesome, and then it was so like spasmodic that it's like he even had to say, "No, I'm good. I don't need a seizure."
Did you change your microphone, Drew?
Yeah.
You sound like
No.
you're in a radio all of a sudden.
You know, it's probably because he sat back, because the microphones and laptops are just generally sensitive.
How is that?
A little better.
A little better.
No, nothing. I mean, I just turned my computer and got a little bit more comfortable.
Now you're good.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
All good.
So we'll kind of run it through. We obviously lost. I'm not sure if it was Bill or Milf, but looks like
was
Bill
Bill.
is the one that got dropped.
maybe having some internet. issues. Or
Yes,
maybe
he
his
might
cat
be
The
having some
interweb.
complications.
Complication.
The last thing that you
Wait, we lost
guys,
somebody.
yeah, Bill
What?
dropped
Oh,
for
hold
some
on.
reason.
He got borked.
Is that what he's saying?
So his
You know
internet
that's
died.
like named after a senator or whatever? That
Yeah.
term?
Yeah, Senator Bork. He got borked from the Supreme Court because he was corrupt as hell.
Bork.
I always thought it was something else. Yeah, I was
No, he was a Reagan appointee. He was a really pretty corrupt guy. Like, everyone knew this guy was corrupt. And they called him on it. And the Republicans have been holding it against the Democrats ever since.
Well, where's that Bill? Where'd he wind up? Because we're dropping off.
He's restarted his computer.
All right. Well, we'll give it a short. Rest here. We'll be right back. Let Bill kind of hop in because we're gonna need everybody for this. So we will do that here. Just a moment.
He's quieter than when he first joined. It sounded like he was far away.
Doesn't sound any different at all to me. That's weird. I think it's so strange, Ken. You always got like audio issues you point out. I'm like, I don't get it. It sounds the same.
You do have them like directly in your ear holes, so
Gotta love my ear holes. Okay.
I
All right,
don't wanna
well-
wake the children up.
We have
Technical
returned.
glitch aside,
Yeah. Well, I mean, these technical glitches are starting to like smooth out. Thank God, they're getting less and less severe.
that was my turn. Okay.
All right.
I just got your text. Restarting my computer.
Okay, so we're all standing in the chamber. We're on the, we've passed this massive statue of what Maxwell believes to be his genitals. We're on the other side, and we have this crazy, pretty much demigod creature presiding over this court proceedings, and you have Zacharias standing by as we're all in this line. The only person who's not physically present would be Max, who is there by some other means, looking something vaguely like a hologram. But the only reason why you can even sense that it's something different is merely because of the strange flicker that seems to come whenever he either moves or talks. But beyond that, there's really no disruption that would make you believe that he was already in the room. So there's kind of a bit of silence at this point, and once everybody's assembled and in their place, Baphomet is reading out the various charges against whatever treaties you've all been sort of commanded to appear for. One of the biggest ones being the transition from your prime material plane to another realm entirely. Now, when you're listening to this, you're hearing the fact that there isn't really a confirmation that you jumped more than once. As far as what seems to be the case leveled against you is that you left Earth and returned. That seems to be about it. When it comes down to the nitty-gritty of this discussion, there is a couple of back and forth discussions between your adjudicator your justice and the actual Grand Justice in this case, where they're going to discuss how this is going to proceed from this point forward. What it boils down to is Baphomet basically commanding all of you to remain on the grounds. There will be rooms set aside as part of your dormitory stay, and that you shall proceed. Like your first appearance is just to basically guarantee that you don't more or less give your friends' lives up for your own safety at this point. And the grounds are open to you. They are that confident, even with the wild and strange abilities that Danny can present under the circumstances, probably being the most extraordinary out of everybody by far, as he's capable of just warping reality through magic. But it seems that they are more than confident that everyone will be more than subdued under the circumstances. Now, there is a question that gets presented at one point where Max, still in his cell and being projected outward, and from your perspective, Max, it's a very strange kind of moment. So your cell is also a place of communication from within your smaller circle. That
Was he still in the cell where?
Oh yeah,
where he
you're
was
still
last
you're
time?
still locked up
Okay.
and everything. You've got your manacles on. The cell and the border that was surrounding you isn't just a barrier. It also creates a perfect projection of the space that you would inhabit if you were in that courtroom. So you've got audio-visual communication all the way through, and it surrounds you in this perfect circle. So, except for the fact that there's a stone floor that doesn't match any part of it, you're capable of like you can turn a full 360, look up, do any of that. It all looks like you're in that chamber. You're just not physically there.
I'm in the courtroom, but I'm not in the courtroom.
Right. So instead of having to remove you as a potential dangerous suspect, they can just leave you in there to be present for your court dates, basically.
That's awesome.
So,
He's doing the Emperor Palpatine maneuver.
We need that in real life. Give me the Tupac hologram for, dangerous.
and so, like, the higher you are in position, the bigger your hologram.
Yeah. And the higher your bit rate and everything. Like, you're here to argue parking ticket. You're just like a 2D pixelated. You're here for murder.
Right.
Full 3D.
Yeah.
You go from 8-bit to 4K,
obviously-
baby.
Yeah.
I feel like Maxwell's smart, who feels he has done nothing wrong. He has violated no laws. he fulfills his contracts. He feels that the contract has been voided by these little shits. And by these, he means everyone. So he's still out on. He thinks Human is a pretty nice guy. So like, but I think he's just going to try for a little bit of intimidation, not directed so much at the justice, but just in a general like, I'm a tough guy. That's why I'm not in the room.
Well,
I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me.
exactly.
oh, Warshak, you badass. Anyway,
Rorschach's
so
amazing.
God, love that guy.
yeah, just doesn't compromise. So the biggest thing that comes across at this point. So once we've had all the preliminaries taken care of, which is, everyone agrees that they shall remain
Yeah.
in these grounds, that they will not leave the dormitory. They won't leave the grounds. They have access to the dormitories. They will be treated with hospitality, and nothing shall befall them as while they're under their care, or at least that is the agreement that they have made. So that's what's been stressed across the board. There wasn't really a lot of conflict. It's not like you get this heated debate with Zacharias and the Grand Justice trying to make this happen. This just seems to be standard procedure. Whenever Baphomet turns his goat eyes over to Max and his current predicament, he just asks a simple question. It's like, can you behave?
I think we can agree to that.
So Malcolm kind of picks up on that and goes, so I have a question.
Zacharias kind of like goes to interrupt maybe, but then stops. Grand Justice
Why
turns to you
did-
and like tilts his head.
Excuse me, Your Honor, but I do wish to ask, why does our former companion have to behave? And I seem to see he's been ensorcelled here to be present. Why is he not here?
When he was finally discovered in the world he'd been left behind on, he'd become quite the warlord. His behavior untenable.
Aye, he's a bit feisty, but that doesn't mean he's a bad enough sort that he wouldn't behave in a court of law. Wouldn't that be the case, Mr. Smart?
But he's really muted in the court. That's my.
Look, I'm not a cat. I'm not a cat.
Maxwell doesn't say anything, but wow, that is the shittiest. That like just roll a 1, you piss ant. He rolls a 6 for intimidation. He just kind of sits and pauses and just, yeah, that sounds about right.
He's got an
I mean-
unstable psyche. We're just making certain that he lays out an agreement. One that he will be privy to. Should it break?
Oh, Your Honor, that's completely understandable. But you have to understand, we've lived a unique life. And this was a man who was our companion. And admittedly, while he did wander off, we were forced into circumstances where we weren't given much of a choice, but that will be discussed later on. My trust is in this man. I'd like to have him in the court.
If he's willing to
Grand
behave, he
Justice.
shall be released temporarily to the dormitories and be able to show here in person. It is why I have asked the question. So you can behave.
Grand Justice, if we have a contract, an agreement, and an understanding, I will uphold my end of the bargain.
I will hold you to it. Done.
And now Malcolm, being a sarcastic little asshole because he's been hanging out with Danny too long, pulls out a shilling of God for God knows why. Goes, "Oi, Smart, could I contract you for a shilling to behave?"
I have already fulfilled a contract with somebody else. I'm
Hey,
taking
well,
it
you
this
know,
time.
Fair enough.
Are there any other last questions before we move along? So be it.
Oh, no, I do.
Okay. All right. So I don't even know who was first. I saw Scott's hand first. We'll just start with him.
Go with Scott or Danny.
Does it matter if it was accidental?
If you can explain to me how exactly you accidentally slipped into another realm, I'm all ears. But for now, those will happen later.
And then Hugh also pipes up and is like, "Which time transferring over are we talking about here? Is it the 2 times we had in the marketplace, or the one when we were going to Alvalon?"
To be delineated during the proceedings at this afternoon, or perhaps in the morning tomorrow, depending on schedule.
Which murder am I being charged with?
Well, he's honest.
As
Yeah,
Malcolm resists the urge to slap Hugh upside the head.
Well,
just
Zacharias
see
kind
the-
of chimes in at that point, because it's like, understood, Grand Justice, we will return at the appointed time.
Allegedly.
Everyone's allowed to depart. Max, you are come in upon by the guard who you met earlier. He comes walking forward in through the wards and steps before you and unlocks your chains. Well, now, looks like you're free to walk around. Don't make a mess.
Much obliged. I will not. Have
He
a
goes
good
for the
day.
throat.
And he leads you out of a sort of winding, weaving, underground dungeon area that goes up to the surface level, where you have wide open spaces, heavily curated lawns, old-fashioned roadways that are set with pave and cobble, and lanterns that you'd probably notice from, say, London in the 1920s, maybe a little earlier in that period. But there's also a sophistication to this place. Most of the architecture is more modern, but it still is in that same Gothic poise, where even at one corner of these grounds, you notice that there is a cathedral-like structure with the flying buttresses and its, Gothic appeal. But the dormitories are indicated to you, and you happen to be walking out at a similar time where in the distance you catch sight of the others who are wrapped up in this mess. Malcolm, Danny, and so on.
Well, Maxwell doesn't walk quickly to them, but he makes his way over there. You left me behind. I
Yep.
sure in hell did not wander off. And you right remember that. And he's staring right at Danny. Like, this is not he doesn't have a beef with the other guys. It's like this
Well-
little shit left him behind.
Barnaby actually kind of interrupts, is like, hey, Max, it wasn't intentional. I don't even know how this stuff works, and I can tell you right now, I don't know what happened, but I don't think it was on purpose.
Regardless, you gotta be careful with such powers.
Yeah, he's working on that.
I hope
And
so.
against my better judgment and all rational sense of being, God does sweat my soul. The boy has improved
Oh, Lord.
greatly.
Ooh, that must have hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Since-
You don't.
Our last meeting.
Barnaby just leans in and he goes like, I can't tell if that's pain or if you just wrapped in your kilt.
And you just get it's just like, if I could cut up, it would have been, and it hurt.
That would have
Because
been
the
easier.
boy, and he's muttering under his breath just enough so that so the boy can hear him. It's like, he's still a little obnoxious shite, but he has improved.
He just claps your shoulder with his hand. He's like, yeah. Well, we've been told that the dormitories are over this way. He kind of like looks to everybody else at this point, like wanting to move the conversation away from weird whatever's happening. Estelle is still kind of dumbstruck. She's giving the whole place a look over. She seems to be pretty wowed by all this. Tiberius happens to, he's kind of following behind her in this way. He's like asking questions very quietly. And this is like, just trying to figure. It's like, I mean, I get it. I understand that things are, amazing. We're just moved through weird magical time. Like he's trying to empathize, but something about her wonderstruck expression is weird. Like she's over the top, kind of not sure what to think about all this.
Mm-hmm.
So are we remanded to the dorms until
You're free to wander the
the
grounds
next day?
per his instructions. You can wander the
But
grounds.
we have
and
to stay.
yeah, you can't leave whatever this place is. As long as you don't do that, you're fine. But the dormitories themselves are actually fairly impressive. They're a lot larger. There's 2 wings. You have an east and a west wing, and it's vaguely it extends out elongated, and towards the center part of the structure, you have the parts that elongate out from the side. So if you were basically to draw a line across and then have 2 that intersect, the center goes between them, and that structure just extends outward. The east and west wings being the 2 lengths that sit either side, partitioned by the central part. The main lobby is kind of a sort of a mixture of eras, kind of thrown in together at one. Most of the primary load-bearing structures are all made out of like stone, but then you have electricity and things that would be probably present closer to the 1930s. It's almost like they took a snapshot of what it was like to have old-fashioned dial phones and things along those lines, and then just kind of like threw it in here. So they've got the old-fashioned telephones and their rotary dial, the whole works. The desk is made out of like this heavy, really dark wood, and the person behind it happens to have that sharp-tipped ear and elegance of stature and a certain kind of experiential age that you can just feel from a distance when we all come walking in. She's wearing a very nice, it's a white button-up blouse, bow tie, black slacks, and shoes. It just looks like your host for what's going on here in the dormitories. It's run similar to almost like a hotel, but she seems to be aware that you were all coming. She just nods her head as we all get to the desk. You've all been assigned dormitories. You'll be given keys. And he passes along a key for each one of you. All of it made out of a old-fashioned metal. In your case, there's a slight tingle to the tips of your fingers when you hold onto it, Danny. Whenever you touch it, it's something very obvious. Not just simply a metal key.
Grand Budapest. Nice.
Am I allowed to do magic while we're here?
They have not stressed that magic is against the rules. They just
Or
said
that
you
Danny's
cannot
gonna
leave.
ask her.
Okay.
Danny's gonna ask her.
As long as it's nothing that would be considered violent or meant as a means of escape.
So we are being held here against our will?
No, you came here voluntarily.
We could leave
Well,
voluntarily.
I didn't
but our
say we
friends will
came
die.
here against our will. I said we're being held here against our will.
If you wish to try and leave, you can.
That'll be a choice.
Okay.
And you can just hear Malcolm mutter, Donnie, make the good choice.
But are there like wards or is it frowned upon?
Not the choice you want to do.
She just folds her hands in front of her. She's like, if you attempt to leave, then there will be a response, and likely you will not enjoy it.
Please respond to your mother first before you think about doing things stupid.
No, I'm just thinking about what the judge said.
And I understand what you're saying, boy, but at the same time, I really wish, for the love of all that is holy, you would exercise some good God-given judgment.
The thing's not working in it. I can't understand what you're saying.
Listen, smartass.
It's so weird.
Barnaby just kind of like sinks his head. Estelle puts her hand on your shoulder, Danny. She's like, let's get to our rooms for now.
Maxwell just has this look on his face the whole time.
Yeah, you actually don't recognize the woman, I don't think. I don't think you ever met his mother.
I met his father.
Yeah.
Well, you
We were
went to
at
the
the house.
apartment.
Yeah, I've been at the apartment, but I don't think Mom was around. Or if she did, it was like one of those like, "Hi boys, what are you doing? Okay, see you later." Like I don't
Yeah,
know,
get
Mom.
some pizza rolls.
But he's just sitting there with this look of like, "Oh God, I know I walked away from these guys. Just what the."
So
He doesn't even, like, he's torn between using some of his martial arts skills just to strangle the kid right now and give some good justice, and playing nice so he can move on with his life.
what Danny or Hugh's gonna ask the attendant, because what you said is totally how he feels. This is like a hotel trip, so concierge is how he's seeing
Concierge?
this lady. Oh, it's Dynamo, Shady, in the house. Anyway, he's gonna ask. Did we get her name, or did she give it?
No,
provide it?
she's not given her name yet.
Okay. So he asks, is there any good places to get food here, especially some pie?
Of course. There is a dining hall here in the dormitories. There are also establishments on the grounds that you can find yourself at to enjoy.
So halfway through what you said, he turns on his heel to Max, and he's like, Max, old pal, let's go get some food.
It's probably like a canteen, right? Not
Do
like
some ketchup.
fresh food, but it's like put in your nickel, open the drawer, pull out your key lime pie.
I think that's a good idea.
Key lime pie. Let's go get some pie.
That seems like a great way to catch up after seeing an old friend. That's how he sees it.
Yep, I knew that's what you were referencing.
How long has it been since they've all been together?
It's been months. It's not been a great deal of time, but it's been months. And
Okay.
you can tell like from everybody. I mean, you've got a bit of a screw loose, but you can recognize whenever there's like experience gained or garnered over time. They all look like they've been through it quite a bit.
I'll buy
So-
you some pie.
Excellent.
Did Danny get his own key?
Yeah.
Like different from his parents?
No, everyone got a key
Each person
individually.
getting their own room?
Correct. You'll be on the 3rd floor of the East Wing, and your rooms are marked on the key so you know which number you are. So we've got Hugh and Max going out for pie. What are the rest of you doing?
I'm gonna go see my room.
All right, go see your room. You take an elevator, which has that old-fashioned style to it, where you have to go inside, pulling down the outer and then the inner door, and then pulling the lever and getting rolled up. But it's fancier because you have the base of the lever is all gilded. The inside, the doors move very slowly. They don't clatter and bang. They slide down very nicely, and there's a very articulate design across the ironwork on the inside of the door.
Nice. Yeah, this is like way outdated for Danny.
Yes, but very
It's
interesting. Yeah, it's archaic, but
And, you know, you're talking about like they've got old style phones, and like for Danny, an old style phone is a cell phone. Like,
right. As opposed to the monocle that flips to your foreground here.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you go up to your room, it's actually quite nice. These dormitories are kind of stunning. Everybody gets the chance to be able to go in and see them, who aren't going out and having pie immediately. They are all going to be pretty much a model of the next room over. Most of what you see in here is just a nice place to eat, like a table, chairs. You get no television, but there are many books. Most of them stacked up on shelves. Being on the third floor, you have a small but very easily viewable balcony that you can slide a door open and walk out onto. Your bedroom is properly sized. This could probably hold 2 to 3 people each without trouble. There's a latrine.
Okay.
Works just like you would expect with everything else, like just standard toilet and toiletries, shower. Like, it looks so much more modern than the rest of this whole dormitory in general. Probably closer to mid 21st century in its design. So it's got a lot of those features that are going in it. But in contrast,
Hydrate.
everything else that goes along with that, you all have that same old-fashioned rotary phone located near the door where you can call services or whatever it is that you might want to do. Whether or not they actually allow that is not really well known until you actually have this card that's in there that tells you more or less the dormitories are considered to be a place where everyone can just kind of be for a while if that's what they want. They're just keeping a place to be there, but there's services similar to what you might get, like room service and so on. Got these really kind of crazy amenities, and it makes you wonder exactly what it's like for the more dire criminal that comes across in a place like this. And it would appear that you broke a pretty huge law from some of what was spoken in that chamber, yet you're being treated in this manner. It's very contradictory.
I mean, it feels like we are definitely flight risks because literally the law that we broke was travel related.
Yeah.
So, okay, so Danny's gonna kind of terrorize his room. He's just gonna like open all the drawers, pull all the things, beep all the buttons. When he gets to the phone, he is
Ironically,
going to
find the Gideon Bible.
Right.
Or perhaps unironically.
He's gonna, play the no concept of the phone. So he is going to like play with it, try and figure it out. Like it's wired to a wall.
It's wired to the set, then the set to the wall. Yeah. So you pick it up and you're just like,
yeah, he's gonna
like when you pick it up.
Like, what is that sound? He's gonna like try and imitate the sound. Like he's gonna. Now, does he have his smart brace? Do they take those?
The smart
somehow?
brace is
So he
utterly
has
disconnected from anything on the outside. Anything that is saved to the brace itself
Okay.
is still functional, but any and all network and communications are cut off,
It's in airplane mode.
basically.
So yeah, so he's gonna like just try and he's gonna terrorize and interrogate that phone.
Well, you eventually sort it out because you're not a dum-dum, but it is impressive that phones like this used to be pretty regular, and you're just kind of enjoying the fact that it is so accessible for yourself. When you finally get it, you call down to the front desk, and it says front desk. Hello?
Wait, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't see you.
No.
Does Huh.
Do you
And
need
he's just
something?
like he has no idea. I mean, he's just like, what is this person doing?
Loading bar.
Yeah. I'm hungry. And there's
Would you like
no
something
food
sent up
here.
from the kitchen?
Yes. Can you send me a menu?
Well, what would you like to eat? Unless, of course, there is something that you're unsure of.
I don't. Huh. No, it's okay.
Would you still like something to eat?
No.
All right then, sir. Have a good day. And then like you hear that, and the line goes dead.
And then he's like, "What?" Like he has no, he has no concept of hanging up, like anything.
Yeah.
So then he's gonna like dial that like, but one number different.
It just
And
rings
see
and
what
rings and
happens.
rings
He's
and rings
just
and rings and
gonna,
rings and rings. Nobody picks it
Like
up.
try and call like different rooms. Like what he's just going to
Basically,
whatever.
yeah. And while you're amidst doing that, I'm certain that Max and Hugh here have an interesting
And Frank
conversation, so we'll kind of like switch cut over to that.
Yeah.
Dee, have you seen like when they handed a rotary phone to some kids that were like Gen Z, like they'd never seen it before, and they said like, "Hey, call your friend. Here's the phone number." They could not figure it out.
For real? It's not that terribly complicated. Good God.
It
Once
was-
you know the trick, it makes sense.
The part they didn't figure out was that you had to wait for it to go reset.
Oh my God, they were like do like
Well, like
Yeah.
4, 3, 5, 6, 1, 2, like yeah.
You've seen that video then,
Right.
Scott.
Mhm.
And then you impress
Back
them
and
by
forth,
your
back and forth,
ability
back
to
and-
spin it really fast. And
They tried
time it.
pressing the button, like they thought it was a touch screen at first, and then like they tried rotating the whole thing, and then like you said, they were like, "Dit, dit, 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 dit," like that doesn't work. It was really funny.
It's not even
Anyway.
from movies. I can't believe it. Anyway, so yeah.
That's Danny.
Yes. Yeah, he's diddling around with it. He spent some time trying to figure that out.
And now you understand why Maxwell wants
Oh,
him
crank
dead.
yankers, yes.
Well, I mean, he's dealing
Daniel's
with a
gonna
phone that
invent
is
prank calling.
technically speaking. Yeah, damn near a little over 100 years old, more or less, I think. The timelines are getting scrambled in my brain now. I'm the dum-dum. Anyway, so when you take Max out and you follow the grounds. Is anybody else getting an echo?
Yeah,
Echo.
Yeah, that's weird.
From who?
I don't know.
from Ken.
What?
Is it
What?
from me?
No, nobody else is tripping it. Oh, well, I'll
I
do it.
don't know. I don't know.
Regardless, you follow the grounds and the signs and things like that, and get led to a place that seems to be just a small eatery. It's quaint. It's single floored. When you go stepping inside, it's got that feeling that you might get if you had mixed sort of an old-fashioned tavern, maybe around like mid 1800s, but kind of, and specifically from Europe, or from Britain rather. So you have this pub-like feel to it, but mixed in with that is all of your modern accoutrement, and it smells rather divine, because there seems to be lots happening in the kitchen. There are individuals here that most people wouldn't ever interact with on a regular basis ever. There are fair-skinned, slightly taller individuals who seem to have that smaller frame without having the sharpened tipped ears that you'd normally get with, say, like elven fae, that kind of thing, but they present themselves as some kind of fae in a way. There are a number of like garden variety homegrown human hanging around in here as well, which is also interesting. While walking the grounds, you're confronted with the fact that there are also the small sprites and pixies that seem to be managing grounds and doing all kinds of work in and throughout. And as the time seems to be moving, they're messing with all the lanterns, they're keeping the grounds clear, there's no garbage anywhere, everything seems to be in good standing. And you can see them doing their work. You'll catch like the buzz and hum of strange music as they go fluttering by. This happens rather often. But once
And
that's
this
had
is
the
where-
tavern,
Out. Huh?
Huh?
Oh,
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
you got
Go
one. You got it, Ken.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say is just as Maxwell's walking with Hugh Mann, he's seeing all this magic, and I'm looking at his notes. He is a fanatic devoted to magic being used the right way, and he's looking around. He's like, "That's how it should be done. Look at this. This is it. We need more of this.
This
This
quite
is what's
clean.
wrong with Night City. Yeah, This is what's wrong with Night City. It's those kids like that Danny who ruined it.
He's so.
Oh,
he's
give
tutorial.
Danny a break. He's a good boy.
I don't
He's a
know
good
what
boy.
you see in him, Hugh. This kid has caused nothing but problems. Wrecked my contract. I didn't even exist in the system until this kid came around. Now they know about me. What is that going to do to my reputation?
Well, from what I heard, you're a warlord where you're at. Sounds like you've been doing really good. Or have a leisurely stroll.
Yeah, I can't put that on my resume anymore because now everyone knows I'm a warlord. They're going to have a target on my back when I get back at home. This kid is trouble. I'm telling you. Come join me.
You've
Let's
managed
take him out.
every single time, it seems.
Let's take him out.
Let's
Look,
get some pie. I'm hungry.
absolutely.
I'm famished.
Look at this place. I haven't seen a place like this since I was a kid. My grandma used to take me to a place like this.
Shall we? And he
You
opens the door
Hofbrau?
for you.
Like I said, you step into the tavern, which has that heavy wooden door. You go walking inside. You have that low clatter of dishes in the background with the sound of food cooking and water running. There's low conversation. You know, a lot of these odd sort of individuals that are slightly taller, more wiry framed. They're just kind of going about their day here. I need to do a quick switch.
Music wise.
Uh-huh. Not nearly so intense.
Yeah, this is lighter fare.
You take a seat at one of the tables. There's not really any booths or anything anywhere. It's pleasantly warm. You have a small musical troupe that are kind of keeping things in the background and, you know, just kind of adding to the ambience of everything. When you sit, you have a human server who just looks plainly dressed, and she appears to be in good humor. What will you have?
What time is it right now? Like
Your
outside
wager is that it's probably mid-afternoon. Going to be going into evening somewhat soonish, but traveling from one place to another this way is impossible to know.
He was like, "Good afternoon, young lady. How are you today? I'm Hugh Man."
He's like, Steph, what would you like?
Steph, this is my first time here. What is the best thing you guys got on the menu?
There's a lot. So probably best you just ask. I'm certain that we could probably make whatever you'd want.
Well, I think me and my friend here, we would like the best apple pie, American made, with a side of ice cream to start us off. Max, would you like some
Apple pie
coffee
crumble
too?
or a standard top?
Hugh actually like gets into like a thought, like that is a conundrum, and so he looks up. He's like, "Can we do both?"
She's like, if you wish.
Excellent.
All right then, 4 slices of pie, 1 crumble, 1 regular. And she moves to the kitchen at this point. Doesn't take long for it to come in, so you guys are left to kind of open comm for a moment. Go ahead.
So Max, how have you been?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we know about the warlord, but what's it been like for you?
You know, I'm a survivor
Absolutely, you've always been
with a long,
incredibly slippery.
with a long memory. If it wasn't for my sunglasses, I would have been alone. And now,
Did he get
They're
his
holding
sunglasses back? Oh, you didn't get them back.
no, he hasn't gotten them back. It was part of.
I knew
think,
there was something
my-
missing around you. Those glasses were incredible.
Yeah, I found out they had lots of abilities to transfer and give me information that gave me an edge. And I'm telling you, this kid is no good.
And there's a lot of shit. Which shit is no good?
Look, the kid's a loose cannon. He's violating laws. You can't have that to have a sane society. You're a good man, Hugh.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. As a warlord, you make your own laws. Is that correct?
No, we go by the bigger laws. Laws that govern all of universes. This kid is ripping holes. Like he rips holes in his shard. I can't even do it. And
Up in his
just
room,
going on a
Danny's
rant.
gonna
busting
conjure
up.
pie.
No, we'll give you a moment. We want to see this. Come on, play it out.
Do it.
He's just what I would say is, he is intolerant. He's a fanatic, and he's a bit paranoid. So as he's saying this, he's also like looking over his shoulders and said, "Hey, you don't get to the top without busting a few eggs. Just saying, you. Just saying. By the way, this pie's delicious.
Is it delicious?
It's delicious."
Oh, cool. So ecstasy then when he's eating.
Yeah, and he looks up at you. He goes, "So why are you still with this guy? What's in it for you?"
Well,
I don't
he's
get it.
now my he's helping me with my business. He just turned 16 and he needs a job. Like you say, he might be a loose cannon and he needs someone to help him. I definitely believe everyone in this world is able to do the right thing.
That's Maxwell's response.
Ah, the ultimate
Oh.
optimist. Ultimate optimist meets the
Yeah.
ultimate pessimist.
Exactly,
brought
that's
up-
exactly what it is.
Scott brought a pie into the sword fight.
I just conjured a pie from downstairs.
That ain't fucking
nice.
fair.
Maxwell just sits
Conjure
there
some of
and
that shit
shakes
over
his
here,
head.
dude.
Because I don't know how I got mixed up in you guys. You guys bring me into a contract. I get double crossed by a guy, end up with you guys. Next thing I know, I finally figured out I have my comeuppance and I get ripped into this shit. How are you guys being fair in here? I want no part of you guys.
Oh yeah,
But somehow
we don't
you
want to be
keep
here either.
dragging me. You keep dragging me into your problems. This is what I'm saying. When you don't lay down the law and you let things set up, this is what happens. This is the problem with kids today. This kid doesn't understand it, and mommy's gonna buy him out because that's what mommy likes to do. So she's a nice piece, I gotta say.
Swear you sound like somebody I used to know. Like, it's
Somebody I
unnerving.
used to know.
All right. So this conversation
so-
basically kind of starts to do this loop thing, where it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's great, it's shit, it's great, it's shit, it's great. You know, like, it just kind of does
We
that.
actually work really well together because like Max loves talking and Hugh
Yeah.
loves talking too, and so like we just feed off of each
But
other.
what I want to see, though,
Okay.
I'm just looking at some of his skills. While he's having this conversation, well, I want to do just a general basic awareness of like the security that we're being held in. Like, as much as Maxwell wants to hold his contract, he doesn't actually have a signed contract with these people, and so he just wants to get the hell out of here. And if the easiest way is to go to this trial, he's going to go to this trial. But if there's a quicker way that he can go about his business, he wants to know what type of security is around here. If there's any sort of loopholes, he can find a way through.
2 checks. You need to roll occult and basic security to figure that one out.
Okay. So first will be our basic security.
Oh,
Oops.
You
got
put in a
ourselves a
slash. That was your basic security check?
Okay.
That
It
first
is,
one?
but what am I doing wrong here?
Well, it's not a slash
Yeah.
anymore, I don't think. Is it?
but
Did they go
you
back to
start
the
with a
slash?
Then you have to select the.
Oh, the reason why you had a
roll.
problem there is the 1 is
Oh.
right next to the roll instead of being 1d10.
Yeah.
Let's try
You
that
have
one.
roll 1,
There it
d10. There you go.
20.
So
Yeah, got it. It's
26.
roll. So it's
26.
26 for basic security,
Jesus
Yeah.
effing Christ. Okay.
God damn.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
his occult is an
Is
epic
shit.
failure. This guy does not get magic, and he do
That
not
actually
get
makes a
along.
lot of sense for your character.
It does, and this is why this guy is so actually hard to play. Is because he doesn't get this world. He's like, I just shoot things, and I found something that needs to be shot, and I really
Honestly,
just want to shoot this kid.
If we
Give me
were
a
to
gun.
like rewind before, like, I honestly look at Max and this is the way he sees himself in this whole situation. But I think prior to the Technocracy's total abolition, before they were annihilated, I have a feeling that he was actually a completely sane dude with a lot of different things going on. But because that whole thing got shifted and his psyche can't make up the data, he's just sort of like, okay, and like he's just going.
Well,
Just
except-
No,
Cognitive
he's
dissonance.
Except
Yeah,
in the
he's the
most
re-
positive narrative.
yeah, he's that person who I had it all, and then the world changed, and I can't change with it. So I'm going to force the world back to how I want it to be.
Well,
and it that never ends for characters like that. So I'm looking forward to just blasting this guy and seeing what we can do.
so
He needs a gun.
your basic security is phenomenal. So despite the fact that you don't have the occult backing to understand exactly what it is that they're going to be using to defend against any kind of breach, you will easily be able to estimate it not good. You can equate it to certain things, but as far as your observations, if you accumulate everything from waking up in that prison cell to being to this moment and gathering an idea of what their basic security is, you will easily theorize that there is not really a border. Their established setup is more close to an oubliette in its formation, namely that you can stretch to whatever length you want to go. You literally have to create some kind of breach in the fabric that that separates what this realm is compared to where you came from. So that's the first problem. They make it exceedingly difficult to get out of where you are without making a huge amount of noise. So when you do that, your suspicion would be that with all of the small fae running around and things like that, you're never alone. You're more or less under constant surveillance, which is the exact reason why nobody's worried about you guys being a flight risk, because if you start going like that, they'll be able to, one, watch what you're doing, two, diagnose what sort of magic you're using, and take appropriate action rather quickly. So, more or less, you're in the grid, which is probably Maxwell's least favorite place to be, I'm sure.
For a guy that likes to stay off of it, yeah, he's very much looking around. You know, that's his paranoia, I would say, is definitely playing out. He's looking at just Maxwell, or at Hugh, and he's going, Hugh, what are we going to do?
The easiest thing to do, I mean, we are here against our will. Several of our friends, including, is it Vix?
Vix. Yeah,
The
Vix,
remember
Brenner,
Vix?
and Silva. They're the ones trapped.
Did you ever meet Vix? I don't think you did, but I'm
They
going to
met
say, you
all of
remember
them.
Vix?
No, he did.
And Silva and Brenner.
He was left in the world
they're
that Vix
all-
originated in.
I know, but I don't know if we actually met Vix before he left.
He did.
Okay, good. So anyway, he'll say
we'll
that.
leave that for
but,
later
like,
anyway.
Yeah, so they're under threat of death if we do not take care of this. So we gotta be here for them.
Again, this stare of like this is not how the world works, Hugh. You know that, right? You know
Yeah.
that we're being watched right now. And he starts pointing out all the things that like he knows, like where they're being watched from.
So Malcolm kind of walks into the cafe.
Right, because you'll have
And including
senior
that
room
one
and all
right
that.
there.
Yeah, Malcolm walks
Everyone
into the
was-
cafe going, I can't leave Hugh unsupervised.
You're my handler.
And he sits down. He sits down actually right next to Smart, so he can look Hugh dead in the eye. And it says, "Well, This is not my usual parlance and partake. He looks at the pies and pops like a blood pill. But, you know, Hugh has a certain affection for the thing.
I don't
wish
get
I
it.
could. I wish I could remember what it tasted like.
I really
He flags
Don't
down
get it.
Steph. He's like, Steph, do you guys have any blood cuisine?
She just kind of looks confused. First of all, is like, "What do you mean?"
It says,
Things with blood in it.
"Excuse me, miss. Please disregard his idiocy.
But you need to eat too.
Give it.
You've joined us. Welcome. And we have our great friend Max back with us. Come on. This is time to celebrate.
He just goes, fine. Miss, given the fact that we are in a rather interesting situation, I'd like to ask if you have this on the menu, and it's going to be admittedly an odd request. Do you have fox and deer blood?"
She scratches her head. She's like, "Well, that's not honestly something that we've ever come across as a request, but I'm certain that something can be done. As a matter
Aye.
of fact, depending on your preference, you may be allowed to hunt in certain parts of the ground because you're not, it's middle of the day, right? In terms of the way that everything looks, it's kind of like later afternoon. You are absolutely 100% not affected by any of the light that's going on here.
And he's kind of weirded out by that, but he's kind of accepting it because he's still getting used to that sun-touched thing.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well, the weird part is that the sun touch doesn't even have any effect because normally you'd feel the sting of sunlight against your skin no matter
Okay.
what, right? Because it
All
stops. You basically take half that damage, and whenever you start taking the damage after all, but in this case you feel nothing. So what this is not sunlight from your home. This is something else. But
Hi. Yes, it's like, thank you. That actually brings me a great deal of relief. I do not like to partake of the human persuasion.
she's like, "Well, that's good, especially from being around here." She just taps the table sort of consolitarily, and she
Thank
steps
you.
like, "Was there anything else?"
No. Thank you. You've given me everything I needed
Minor
to know.
interruption. While you're talking,
Oh, God.
you're basically giving her thanks as there's this peculiar distortion that starts sort of right by the table, sort of center of the room, and it peels open kind of like a peephole. And you can see that there is this distortion that's spherical, and kind of hear this voice of kind of excitement at this point. What's happening on your end is that you're actually peeling it open to where you can see where you want to land, because you realize that if I'm going to try this out, I don't know where I'm going. So you're like, I just want to hone in on wherever they are and see if I can't just like reach through the miasma of whatever this reality is and feel where they are. So when you open that up, there's this smaller like sphere of observance where you can kind of get an idea of where you want to be. And then you expand it, and what happens is that instead of being where you were, when that sphere goes from just being viewable, you expand it, and in it you basically exchange three-dimensional space. So once in your room, and now wink, you're in the cafeteria. So, and actually
Malcolm just
a show of a
looks
rather
at him.
powerful, excellent skill. He manages to arrive just there. The distortion emerges. Not a lot of crazy activity going on around it. And then he's just kind of there, starting from like center chest. It goes whoop, and transitions to being in the room.
And then Malcolm just nonplussed because he's been so traumatized by this bullshit. He just looks at Donnie and says, "Boy, sit."
I would like
Miss
some
Miss
pie.
Stephanie, could you get a pie for the lad?
She's looking at Danny with this kind of intrigued expression. She's like, "Wow, nobody's ever done that before." She just walks to the kitchen.
Slice of cheddar on top.
She's like, "Okay." Like,
God, that's so weird.
What are you guys talking about?
Well, given his rather grumpy disposition and his rather cheery disposition, I do believe the two of them were discussing you.
Look at what Max is doing.
You take your seat, the pie is served. Everybody kind of commiserates for a little while, despite Maxwell's lack of enthusiasm for the new arrival. While you're doing that, you're getting things wrapped up, your dishes are being taken. I would like to have every one of you make an awareness, please.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
You're welcome.
So there's
Actually,
like
you
a
can really thank
skin
Ken.
around this place, but I could move within it. Does that make sense?
Well, and your portals have always had
No.
a natural spherical quality to them, but that was probably the most immaculate you've managed to make it happen. Probably because you're not pulling multiple people along for the ride.
Yeah.
All right, 17.
That's a 17 for Senor Bill. What everybody else
12
get?
on Max.
Gotcha. Yep.
I did something wrong.
I don't know, just go with it, because Maxwell seems not to be
You got
aware
a
of
10.
anything. No wonder you guys left him behind.
You rolled a 10, so yeah, roll another d10.
I don't know how I don't know how that roll happened like that. Anyway,
Well, you need to roll another d10 because, yeah.
I got
there
a
you
1. Okay, so
17.
17.
Oh.
Okay.
well, but I have a plus
I
16.
got 20,
So
27.
Dear God, man.
Good God, Ken.
yeah, so I'm also at a 27. Because I have a
We're highly aware 'cause we're
plus
high.
16 on mine. So
You're high on pie. All right. Well,
Ha ha.
Haha.
ha ha ha. Anyway, so you're making this kind of like small talk as things are winding down. Maybe been in the cafeteria or in this diner, this tavern, really, for approximately an hour, a little over, as everybody's been having these discussions. There is this really strange, like, feeling that kind of hits everybody. Because even with Maxwell and his 12, I mean, it was going to be a pretty low roll for him not to get it. But the feeling is very persistent. It kind of envelops everyone. What is also odd is that the outside lighting, kind of like extra thick cloud cover, gets in front of the sun. How it just dims through the windows. Steph is a little bit, she's off at a distance dealing with somebody else, but you can hear her in the background. She's like, oh, that's really weird. Like, she's kind of like observing the fact that things are kind of strange right at the moment.
Malcolm just kind of just closes his eyes and goes, oh, God's teeth.
I would actually like to have everyone do a reflex essence check, please.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Ken?
What?
This is your fault.
Wait, no, I thought it was shady.
Yes, but
No,
there's
this
things
is the-
happening.
It's the
What's that?
legendary check, not the average check.
Oh, I thought the
What's
average was
the
us going
target?
Everything's. Oh, yes. So you haven't been informed of that. So target is always 8 unless otherwise specified when doing essence checks of any kind. That's a negative.
Let's see. 10, fail 1, explode 10, target 8.
oh dang.
Q, what'd you take? Like stims?
That was
I'd
not
also
me.
like to point out
I
Maxwell
guess it
has Iron Will.
Oh
Well,
my
it's
God.
not. It's not affecting your iron will at this point.
Okay.
He's,
Jesus. I had 2 fails, but I still had like 3 results.
Fucking insane, dude.
It's no shock that Malcolm is kind of landing on his feet here.
So it's only Danny that failed the reflex.
I mean, he uttered that statement for a reason. Alright, cracks.
Oh. Well, like I said, everybody's kind of remarking how things got a little bit strange. Then there is kind of this under, like, below your feet, almost like a rumble point. The air pressure pops, and everything, like your table, chairs, everything else like that, it's almost like the ground beneath you becomes just pitch black sand and just falls into a sinkhole. And you're plummeting a good distance. Unfortunately, Danny's the only one that doesn't actually get a grip on what's happening and lands on his side and back. Just kind of like knocking the wind out of him. Everybody else manages to land at least relatively on their feet, or at least in a way that doesn't cause them to lose their breath.
Malcolm
you make that-
Malcolm kind of goes towards Danny. It's like, it's okay, lad. You're safe. Everything's fine.
Now, the lot of you are standing in what seems to be an entirely different place altogether. Sputtering out from all directions, there's kind of this thunderous-looking sky, kind of like this roiling storm cloud, always kind of boiling at the skyline, like it's directly overhead. There's quiet thunder that's constantly rolling as just persistent sound. And when you're looking in these directions, you have these walls that are standing maybe 10 feet, built out of stone. And you're in the central area. There's, again, a very precise circle that is where everybody landed. But there are 5 different exit points from where you stand, and all of them look remarkably the same.
So Malcolm, who's basically kind of get Danny composed because he's disoriented, right?
Yeah, after about maybe 40 seconds to a minute or so, you got like tears coming in your eyes and you're finally able to breathe again. But
It's like
that sucked.
it's like you see his furry face in front of you. Donnie, you okay, boy?
I mean, yeah.
Hey, okay. I need you to focus. Can you focus with me?
Sure.
I need you to get us out of here.
Where are we?
I honestly don't give 2 shites where we are.
Shite.
We're not where we're supposed to be, and that's a problem. It's a
Did
big
it-
ask, boy.
Are we the only ones who moved, or did like all of the people in the tavern?
Just you
just us.
guys.
Just us, which means he's like, it's just us, which means this is targeted, and I do not like that.
But is this where like our trial is?
Knocking the wind out of
Honestly.
Danny definitely made him a little bit more slow.
Honestly, I don't know. Neither do I care.
This boy's not the brightest, is he?
Yeah,
Well,
he
if you'd
like
like, I can
Malcolm
make a
actually
portal for free.
stops and looks at Smart and actually snaps at him. Says, "Look, the boy's going through a little bit of trauma. Show some understanding for someone who's younger than yourself." And he goes back to Danny. Now, please, can you try to reach out to our former location?
I mean, I can try, but if I don't know where we are, it's hard to know where to go. And I was saying before, the place where we were, it has like, it's like being in a balloon. It'll stretch. It's got a skin. I could move around within it, but I couldn't leave.
Can you capture that feeling and try to draw yourself to it again?
I mean, I can try.
Aye. Do your best, lad. And if not, and he looks at the 5 doors, and you kind of hear the click of like his blade loosing, then we'll do
You had
what
your
we
blade
do.
with you?
Yeah, they never took our weapons.
No,
thought
they never took
our
anything.
weapon.
Mm-mm.
They
Wait,
took
wait,
Max's
wait.
Weapons.
I was gonna say, Max doesn't have any of his guns. All his guns are gone.
Yeah, because you're the scariest one.
Max have his
Apparently, you can
sunglasses?
either be insulted or find that to be respected. Up to you.
No. He very much finds it respected. You just see him right now, just pull his hands up, and he kind of just shakes them a little.
Wait, yeah,
because,
I thought they did take our stuff.
Here, yeah, they might have, but let me remind you, Maxwell got a base 12 in commando.
Right.
Okay.
He is the
Yeah.
weapon.
He registered
Oh,
with the
that's-
FBI.
As you know, as Malcolm's talking to him at the same time, takes his dirk and just hands it to.
I will
Hands it to-
go under the assumption, even so, this is how we'll solve that. If you guys did absolve yourself of your weaponry when you came, it is now on your
Okay.
person except for Max. That is true.
Okay. And Max, you just kind of see like you see him comforting Danny, but at the same time he sees you weaponless, and he holds out a dirk, his dirk for you.
Max takes it with a grin, kind of spins it, and says, "Much obliged."
And I'll let you know what the damage is when you need it.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely do that. But he's putting himself at the ready. Let's see if he has. You guys keep going. I just want to see where he is for weapons. Yeah,
Am I trying
this
to
guy
open
was
a portal?
made for this. Can I, while you're opening that, can I have Maxwell roll a stealth? He also has the ability to vanish. That he almost grabs a weapon, says much obliged, and then as much as possible.
Yeah, you're talking about that
enters the
trick because I
shadows.
think what was your original? What was your template that you chose as your archetype? I can't remember. Were you a cleaner?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So you have the whole disappear into plain sight, the whole Batman trick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's used that on us a few times.
I got it past Bill's character once.
That you did.
All right. So do I roll the stealth first, or roll the vanish first?
You need to roll to stealth, and that will give you the idea as to whether or not you actually, because I believe that the trait that you're talking about offers a bonus. Let me check to be sure.
Vanish doesn't. It's a vanish plus 1d4 to stealth check.
You got a kicker
So I
die.
roll my.
Yeah, you get a kicker, so you
Yeah,
get to
so
roll
I-
stealth
kicker
with your
die.
kicker.
So that would be 1d10 plus my thing plus
Yeah, it's 1d10 plus 1d4,
4.
and then the amount. Your standard level. I thought that's what it was.
Okay, let's see if I got that in right. No, I did not.
You might just have to roll them separately.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Well, I'm at 23 and I critted. 23 plus 9, 32.
Yeah, I'd say you're very good at disappearing. Dude, why are you critting so
Yeah.
hard? You're not Ivar, man. Quit.
Hey, this guy, the dice work in mysterious ways. This guy grabbed a dirk, and you just gave Maxwell a weapon, and he said thank you and disappeared.
Yeah, and well, he kind of steps out of the crowd. It's not like an instantaneous vanish. You just kind of like step out of people's, notice and awareness, and you kind of stay out of their line of sight. So the way that you're working the stealth is that you're just kind of more or less becoming so boring that nobody's paying attention to you anymore, and you're keeping at a distance. So you kind of step off to the side and just kind of hang out in proximity of, but out of line of sight through one of those exits. So from everyone's perspective, you just have these entry points, 5 of them, that you can go through or explore.
Okay, so Malcolm wants Danny to portal out.
Yes. Yep.
So I took planar intuition.
I'm
as
seeing
one of
that.
my
Yeah.
majors, which I'm retconning to say why I was able to like figure out how to portal inside of where we were. Just, I know how to like probe and navigate around and all that. So how would I apply that here? Is it more of like a mystical awareness type
Well-
situation and I'm trying to look for a doorway magically, or is it because I don't get pluses on my evocation rolls, so it's not like I do a
No, this is a skill.
40, 10 plus
Basically,
3.
what you would do is you'd be rolling on your occult in this case, but you have a +3 to your occult when doing this.
Okay.
The whole idea is that you're more or less astrogating, but you're doing it
Right.
at a level that is like upwards of that genius type. You're doing heavy hitting math in your own mind, but you're also using your sense of awareness as well. So it's actually going to be a couple of checks in tandem. You're going to want to make that
Sure.
awareness check using magic to kind of help you get a lay of the land. You're going to make an occult check to kind of refine that data into something useful, using that bonus at this point to see exactly how you can figure it out and also determine where you are. So it's going to help you give you that point of reference. So the awareness first, occult second, to give you all that information. And it will be handy because
Okay.
then you won't be at a detriment when trying to execute your evocations.
Okay, so let's go awareness first. So this is with a +5 for mystical awareness.
Yeah. This is where you're going to shine, man, because your mystical awareness is a big deal.
Oh, meatball.
Or not, maybe. I don't know. What's going on?
So I'm gonna
Oh my god.
re-roll that.
Oh my god. Yeah, I would.
I'm gonna spend 2 luck and do explode that. Okay, so a 29 mystical awareness,
Hell yeah. That's a lot better.
and then cult lore, and I have a +3 on that for my planar intuition. So that gives me a +19. So 24 occult lore.
Okay. So here's
I was just
pretty
so
much
disoriented from the fall, had to.
you go and start trying to analyze the situation, get your bearings. When you open up your awareness to this place, it becomes very clear that there is not a single stone or square inch of it that is not constructed in a metaphysical sense. It is very much something that is not part of any kind of rooted or anchored reality, which puts it into the realm of Neverland. So you're trapped inside of a Neverland, which is a bad thing to begin with. Neverlands have very specific rules, and your occult roll will give you this kind of information. In this case, you are subject to the rules that have been established by who its creator is. Meaning that if entrapment is the point, entrapment is what they'll get. There's a very good chance that trying to escape will be complicated, to say the least, if not impossible. Worse is that when you start to examine how this all fits together, the magic is interwoven in this complex design, and it stretches out as far as you can sense. Now, you're not seeing this with your eyes, you're picking it up with your very, your potent intuition. Your planar intuition in particular, which is telling you that this Neverland doesn't seem to have any specific borders. It's a vast and expanding space, or it shifts and moves to accommodate the people within it. Portaling out would probably be your best shot, but the other problem that seems to be odd, that is going to be hard to explain given everything that you've been told, is that you are technically in this Neverland, which means that you technically appear as if you had made an attempt to escape or done so, but you haven't. it looks like this seems to be the, well, kind of the crux of the problem. You haven't actually left the area to your knowledge, but whatever this Neverland is attached to is going to be in an object of some kind or another. And that's fully controlled by whoever has made this manifest. Last thing is that the complexity leads you to believe that whoever has made it is fucking skilled. They would have to know a deep and abiding understanding of 3 dimensions that even for you would be pretty complex. Not to mention the fact that whatever this Neverland is composed inside of is adaptive, which is again the problem. But there are chances that you can find a weakness, loophole, pinpoint some section that would not be as strong, something like that. You just don't have all of that. You have to go exploring to find out for sure, to see exactly where certain key nodes might be or where there might be some rupture point. But it's going to take some time.
All right, so do I, and I'll stop asking questions a little bit. Do I sense any like resonance here that would kind of, lead me in a direction? Not necessarily that I have like a big arrow that popped up over my head that's a compass, but like there's 5 ways out of here. Do I get a feeling like this side versus that side or anything like that? Or how does that work? Because I'm getting freaked out and happy to like bust brute force something, but that's how we left Maxwell behind last time. Was I got freaked out and tried to brute force something. So
Right. Well, at this
or do
point,
we just start opening doors and
well, there's not really doors. They're just openings where you can move through.
right.
And like I said, the complexity of this place is very much like a maze. You're just kind
It's
of
a
wandering
roguelike.
between everything.
Oh,
Can
the first thing I would
I
say is Bert.
I'm gonna try to charismatic leader and
You have that
appear
skill?
confident to lead people in the right direction.
Okay.
Does Danny have that skill?
I do. I'm thoroughly trained in it, and I never get to use it.
Well, now you do.
This is why you guys are in trouble. This is why you're in trouble right now. You're trusting a
15,
16-year-old
so-
to lead you.
So I am like doing my like reaching out, and I go, we need to go that way, and I'm not even pointing at a doorway. I'm like, that way.
Hugh starts walking that direction.
As Malcolm grabs him by the collar.
I can find a weak point, but not here. We've got to go further in.
Aye. So we've got to. He's still holding like Hugh by the collar,
His
It's like-
legs are just like
moving. It's just like. So what you're saying is, we need to further go into this game to understand how to get out of it.
oh. So we are here. Nobody else from that place came with us, right?
Aye.
So we were put here, and from trying to move around inside there before, it very clearly is constructed to keep us in. They emphasized over and over, you can't leave, you can't leave. So either we're in a little bubble inside of that big bubble, or someone moved us out. But I don't want to try it
Aye.
right where we are. I think we can try and go to an edge by moving through it in a direction.
He's like, and he says like, and he kind of lets go of Hugh's collar, hoping that he won't keep on moving. And then he just kind of like says, you have grown. So I'm going to trust you. And do you understand the trust I place in you on this one?
I mean, just doing what I feel is best.
Aye. and he's doing this kind of for like Maxwell for Smart's benefit, even though he knows he's like shadowed somewhere. And it's just like, hey, you have grown and you have he kind of growls a little bit. He goes, matured in your outlook on life. I trust you, lad. I do. I truly do. And you just kind of see the sincerity in his eyes, where he's just kind of looking at you. It's like, if this is what you think is right, then let's see it through.
Oh, the music got ominous right as you said that.
I really want to say Maxwell is getting very close to you with that knife. But he's currently he's holding, he's pausing.
Okay, let's do
Malcolm's words made him just stop for a moment and think, did he have it wrong?
Stop combat awareness check. I mean, you made the statement, so we're gonna have to do it.
I mean, I could just try and open a portal here, but I only see the two of you, so who knows who I'd be able to portal out.
So 18 combat awareness check. Does he sense that Smart has the knife kind of moving closer?
Problem is you don't have any sense that he's there. You'd have to have met at like a 32. That's how friggin' insane his check was.
Jesus Christ. Well, never mind.
You don't know where my character is. My character's off
So
contemplating, but your character's words made him hold. He's holding right now, waiting to see what happens, but he's acting in some ways as his own judge and jury.
So he's like, lad, I trust your judgment. And I think at this point, you know my sword is yours. But remember, always to choose the right path. Can you do that for me?
I mean, I think that's the right path.
And then
And
he
he's
just
gonna,
goes, and
give you a little wink.
he looks up and he goes,
He's just gonna give you a little wink.
and he goes, God, you're testing me. This is a test. This has always been a test. It wasn't the curse that you inflicted me upon me. It was this.
Are you
is this boy
saying I am a gift from God to you?
And he looks down and he's kind of scowling at Danny, going, I don't
Hand chosen
even
and placed in your path?
know even where to begin with how
Let's go.
incorrect you are.
He was already
So-
halfway there.
Let's move the discourse forward. And he kind of points in the direction you had indicated. And at that point, he's actually like fully, and as he does that, he actually fully draws the sword from and pulls the shield down and has Dirk ready with shield and starts walking in the direction that Danny indicated.
Dirk or sword? Because the Dirk, I believe, is in Maxwell's hand. Unless you had two.
He gave a Dirk, and he is holding the blade of the orphan in his fist with the shield. And he has his basket hilt in the other hand.
Okay. Well, you guys start navigating yourselves around. So how would you like to try and work this through from an intellectual standpoint? Is there basically something that you're hoping to...
I mean, you always take a right turn until you hit a dead end. That's what Hugh
That's
said.
what I was gonna say. Right. Until, but if we walk through and it's like another, room of 5, then I don't know.
Yeah. So what happens when we actually like cross the portal through?
Well, in this case, there's, like I said, there's really not like a door or anything else. It's just like access points, because you have the wall that's going to separate out, and then you have your 5 exits. You pick the one that seems to be in the closest direction that he indicates, and it goes into hard corners and turns and starts taking you singular paths. just like a maze. You start walking down that way. It's all stonework. The lighting has not changed. It's that weird grayish, kind of, like just weird dark gray kind of overcast all the time. And like I said, there's that persistent rumbling of thunder from up top as well.
So Malcolm's going to sheathe the Blade of the Orphan and sling his shield. And he's going to bring out the Dead Lantern.
Okay.
So the Dead Lantern, when he pumps his blood into it, the light of the flame goes from an amber to blue. The illumination will show things that are normally invisible. This will also pick up psycho echoes or spirits that are immediately 4 meter radius of the light.
Yeah.
Such as they may notice this barrier of the light and attack if hostile. The illumination will also show magic and portals, skip gates, or entrances to Netherlands that come under the light. The effect lasts as long as the lantern is lit.
Right. Yeah, that'd be good to have something like that on hand.
So he's going to engage the lantern and use that to kind of guide them. Now, at the same point, so when I use that, that blood cost, right?
Yep.
So that's 5. He's going to use his 5 rate of use because it's a big one. What does the Dead Lantern show him?
Well, it actually shows everybody because what the lantern reveals, everyone can see. When you ignite it and that amber light goes into that azure and coloring, there is this strange sort of dismantling of your environment in a way. You're looking at everything around you and you're seeing its parts, its components, the energy that comprises it. It's like you're catching power lines, but they're not physical wires traveling from point A to point B. They're more like veins, just raw force going straight through and illuminated in this sort of white, almost golden-like emanation from the walls. And it's circulating through everything. It's almost as if the place itself has a composition of life to it. Of course, I had to say veins, and that's exactly what y'all go to. Couldn't stop yourselves, could you?
Nope.
I didn't even know that existed as a GIF. I should have known. I think they took the veins off the Snickers, though. I think they actually made that choice.
Yeah.
No, they brought
So
it back.
anyway, it's kind of illuminating and showing that, but does it kind of, as the flow and the power and everything that kind of goes through it, does it kind of give a direction or a path?
Not based on what you're seeing here. It does give you the obvious note that what you're standing in is not reality as you know it, which confirms what Danny was already asserting about the place. If you want to make an occult check to try and sort of like analyze that situation and make a best guess, yes, you can make that attempt.
So Malcolm is going to kind of look, he's holding the lantern up and he just kind of looks at Donnie. He goes, Donnie.
Yeah.
Can you focus your powers upon the lantern to find a path?
I don't know what that means.
You see what I see, and it shows us that we're in a Neverland.
Yeah.
And the lantern always guides a path true. Can you focus your powers? Can you focus your powers through my lantern to find a true path?
I mean, sure, I could try.
Awareness check.
Just like
Keep it. Oh
my
no!
God.
Jesus,
Ken.
Drew. Why, man? It's not even Ken at this point, dude. He got trumped completely.
I'm sorry, what did you just
Not
say?
okay,
Did you
Drew.
say
It's
awareness?
not okay.
Hey there, muscly
Awareness.
Chris, you get those sexy thighs back here.
Yeah, but Drew's the only person who actually has had that living moment.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Um,
awareness is not as high.
Okay, awareness. Is this regular or
It's
special?
a regular awareness standard. You're trying to get an idea about the situation.
19.
19 for Danny.
Okay, good.
D19.
D19, D19!
Anybody else roll yet? What'd you get? 19 also, Bill?
Yep.
Okay, and then
D19.
Ken, you only got a 14?
Yep.
Okay. Drew, did you roll for that or
And
not?
do you need an awareness roll? Do you need an awareness roll from Max as well?
Yeah.
Can he do a combat sense roll, or is it just a normal?
This is awareness for right now.
Okay.
Dang. You got a crit.
He's been getting crits all night.
Oh,
I
and he
know,
gets
it's
a
like he's been
20.
saving them up since he's been gone.
I think
I-
so.
Yes.
Well,
A
it's
year of
because he's
crit.
vanished. He's more aware.
Maxwell Smart is the reincarnation of Ivar.
I like that his
No.
actual awareness skill is just +4, and yet he's still
His awareness is
rocking-
horrible.
And yeah,
Like, Maxwell is so not Ivar. He's not even in the league of Ivar.
Ivar was crazy.
That's what made Ivar great, though. He was
Okay, so 20 for Maxwell.
chaotic.
Well, chaotic. Everybody manages to catch it from wherever they're standing. There's something that's kind of happening overhead. That rolling thunder sound that's persistent has something very subtle overtake that noise. It's not eradicating the sound of thunder, but it is definitely beginning to coincide with it. When you look towards the skyline, past these walls and then more up overhead, but still at a fair distance, there is this kind of weird rushing dark cloud of something that is beginning to accumulate out in the skyline. And it's creating this sort of like rush, almost like imagine like what like sand sounds like going down like a slide. That's kind of what you get, is that sort of hissing metallic sound out of it. Either way, you don't have all the time in the world to sort out what's going on, because everyone gets the sense that this is probably not a good thing.
Yeah, let's move. Gotta move, gotta go. That way.
Oh, you're
How
muted
high
there,
are the
Bill.
walls?
10 feet. Still muted, Bill. There you go.
There we go.
You're in.
So he's holding up the lantern, looking at the sky, going, "So, Danny, could you kind of focus a little faster?"
Yeah, okay. What's it, a D19?
Oh my god.
I want that shirt made now.
Occult is, yeah, plus 19. So 22 occult with his planar intuition. He's gonna place his hand on your hand holding the lantern and like
Uh-huh.
you know, close his eyes and try to look extra epic, but he really does not know what he's doing.
Right, well, in this case, you kind of link up with it. You kind of link up, you basically sort of connect to the sorcery that's in the lamp and see how it all fits together. It's not a comfortable feeling. This lantern is comprised of magic that is built out of life force. It's something that takes away from. It doesn't naturally exist. It more or less is consumptive in its base form. So when you
Did
get
it
into
use any of my blood?
no, but you can
Oh, thank
feel it being hungry of its own right, which is really off-putting. It really enjoys being able to take that blood in to do what it's doing. Like it's kind of this kind of persistent feeling, and it's not the same kind of hunger like in your gut, like I'm kind of hungry.
No,
It's
but
kind of like I want to absorb something, a lot more
like
than
addiction
just
hunger.
a meal.
But you feel it. but you feel like it's tethered to him, to Malcolm.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
part of your hunger is going to be imbued in the lantern. It can't not be the case. But yeah, you guys start moving, and you can start hearing that rushing, hissing sound becoming much more cacophonous as you're trying to navigate this maze and push through. The funny thing about the lantern in and of itself is that it kind of gives you a sort of sixth sense about your surroundings, but it doesn't give you a direction. So more or less what you have now is like an immediate, magically oriented radar within the range of the lantern's light. So anything moving inside of that, you're aware of them instinctually. So you have
in other
spatial
words,
awareness
we're-
within
Does
that
anyone
field.
have danger sense?
We're
More or less, that's
we're
what you
in-
got with anything that's in that
we're-
range.
We're in Aliens, and they're holding
Uh-huh.
up the sensor, and they have the life forms. Deet, 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 deet.
Yeah, it's starting to happen. So, being that the
Okay.
case, you guys start putting the pedal to the metal, and that is top of the hour at this point by 2 minutes almost. So we'll probably have to hold her there. But yeah, I mean, so you guys are
Great.
starting to make a rush for it.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, man, we're talking legendary, dude. This means intrigue and, doing the smart
Ah,
Feeling it in my nips.
shit. We're doing smart shit. Like intrigue, like, oh, my nips, man.
it's like Warcraft. Ah.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only thing I can ever think of is that stupid skit from South Park whenever they have the Velcro flaps and they keep talking about how awful their service is and they're just persistently doing this. It's like, oh my god.
Comcast. Especially when they get the manager
Yeah.
and it's like, how
Damn
can
it,
I help
Scott.
you? And,
Hey, Drew, it's really good to have you back.
oh, you found it.
Jeez, that's terrible.
Jeez, that's
I-
terrible. Yeah. Sorry to hear that. Yeah.
It's incredible.
Okay, so I had no internet for hours yesterday, right? Get my internet back up.
Glad to be
And
back,
then,
buddy.
then the city comes around and installs new smart meters for everyone. So then I lose power. So I get my internet back for like 20 minutes, and then the whole house is power off.
God, I can't tell you how many times during the pandemic the internet would go out and I'd go for a walk around the block and there'd be Comcast working on the pole, and I'd start yelling at the guy like, "Give me my goddamn internet back!" And you're right, Randy, is like, I cannot help it, but when my sons are with their friends and I walk into the room, I do my best Randy of, "Hey boys, what you doing?"
Well,
It's the
All
best
right.
thing about the best thing about like Oregon is around September, October, November when the rains hit, I'm gonna have connectivity issues. Like my internet's gonna go completely down,
Oh wow.
gotta
because-
love it.
right? Infrastructure.
Yeah. Needs help. That's
hey.
what it needs.
Okay.
So,
I just hit
So what-
40 sessions. That means that
Yeah.
I get a milestone.
That's right. That's number 40.
Congratulations.
40?
I just searched Randy on the gifts, and there's some in there that even I can't put up. But have fun with that. I'm gonna head out, guys, because I
Yep.
gotta go to work early tomorrow. So
Thanks
I'll
for
talk to
coming
you guys
by.
later.
We're out
Yep.
next
You're
weekend
welcome.
or next
Well,
Thursday,
yeah.
right?
yeah,
For
we will be out
Thanksgiving.
for Thanksgiving. We will not have a stream then, but we will be back the week following. But
There
as
you have
always,
it.
to everybody who's watching, thank you so much. We will be catching you on the next run. Everybody have a good night. We'll see you later.